Springfield Local School District Board of Education meeting to order. Chris, could we please have the roll call?
Mrs. Collins.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. Dinkins.
Here.
Mrs. Dodson.
Here.
Mr. Hofer.
I'm here.
And at this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would like to have a brief moment of silence for the victims of the Boston Marathon. Please. Thank you. And next, we are going to go into a brief executive session to discuss some personnel matters. And we will actually go ahead and go to another room. So you can stay here and we will be back very quickly. Could I have a motion to please enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to enter back into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Dave and Sadie.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes, at this time we're back into regular session. We'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, presentations. I believe the first is a Race to the Top presentation by Sean Morgan.
Just check and see if we're on. Heather's going to be presenting on parts A and B, and I'll take C and D. I think these are bi-monthly, so this should be picking up where we left off.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Heather Phillips. I'm the 7th and 8th grade math teacher at Spring Hill Junior High. I'm just here to update you on our Race to the Top, our initiative grant, parts A and B. A is our transition team, and that's where we just talk about our minutes being available for you on the Springfield webpage, as well as any additional resources we will be adding to that link. You can get through to the link from the Springfield webpage through parents, community, or through teachers, the staff page. Section B is our standards and assessment section, and that deals with our curriculum. And we're going to talk about 2 things today there. The first one is that the Race to the Top funds purchased Star Enterprise, which is an online assessment tool for our district, where we will be able to assess students a snapshot of where they currently are in their achievement, and then we will be able to monitor them throughout the year. Some of the things that you should know about that is available to our district for all grades K through 10. We will be administering a minimum of 3 tests or more if we need. There's 3 windows throughout the year that allows us to track our students and compare them to other students in the nation the same age. But you could take it more often if you need to, just to monitor progress. And then it's kind of like having an individual education plan for each student. That's the way that I see it, because it allows me to see not only where my student is, how the student's growing, and then at the same time, there's resources available, there's links next to the students, and those resources help us specifically strengthen the skills that are needed, maybe where any of their weaknesses are, you've got some holes there. So that could be a good tool for us to use for our intervention programs as well. Along with that, I need to let you know that a few of our Race to the Top team members, Wendy Bluey, Lucy Brown, Raylan Craig, and Ann Phillips, attended a district overview along with our administrators. And then 9 teacher leaders were selected to represent and support the 5 buildings in Springfield. And in regards to this STAR system. 8 of them got to attend a 2-day intense training and then come back into the buildings and share with us as the teachers. From what I've heard, those teacher leaders were able to hit 2 of the windows so they could actually see their students' progress for this year compared to the students in the nation, and then the rest of the teachers, as many as could get on. I don't think it's 100% yet, but I could be it's close to it. We've got our students in there, and we can see, like I managed to get mine in for the 3rd window, so I won't be able to see their growth per se compared to the nation, but I will among the classroom. And with that then, those teachers have come back and during staff meetings and just in school, because it's such an exciting program, we're talking about it a lot and having a lot of discussions on not only what it provides for us, the snapshot, but the resources that are going to be there. We're trying to work out those kinks so that we're ready to run with it next year as a program and make this a very useful thing for us. Some of the kinks that we're working on is just, what do you do when a student's absent? And then trying to get the technology like laptops to be able to support that particular program. Right now it's the computers. And then the second thing I want to talk to you about is the teachers in K through 10 received these flip booklets. And these flip booklets help us break down the Common Core, which is overwhelming at times for us. So they help break it down into learning targets and essential questions that we can spark students' thinking, as well as help with the grand picture of the understanding. So all of the teachers, math and language arts, K through 10, received those from Funds for Race to the Top. So now I'll turn this over to Sean for Part C and D.
Thank you so much, Heather. Part C and D. Part C is data to improve instruction, and currently, the best understanding I give you, it's a data warehouse that we use. We had purchased DataWorks. That contract will expire at the end of the 2013-14 school year, and the state is proposing their own version, so we'll have to make a decision regarding a new system at the end of this next coming school year. That's the update on Part C. A larger update would be on Part D. A couple of our teachers, Denise Denzak and Paula Murphy, also participated in the SLO training and the OTES training, and they kind of went as teachers, kind of seeing what the administrators have been hearing about and learning about, and also with the student learning objectives, kind of a train-the-trainer model, so they could answer any questions the union might have. So that was one of the things that we did in that section. Myself, Mary Meadows, Lisa Hostler, Denise Denzak, and Bill Burkett met to discuss the student growth measures for each of the 3 categories. If you are aware of, but there is section A, B, and C for all of our teachers. They have to fall into one category. And under those categories, decisions have to be made that go for the entire district on those 3 teacher categories, and that's the discussion we had. So it was kind of those of us on Race to the Top talking to the union about those particular areas. Mr. Stauffer and I have spent some time talking about those areas as well, and which would lead us to this particular point. The district must be agreed upon with SLAC and the Board of Education by June 30th. As per the negotiated contract, a policy must be agreed upon that meets the language and the intent of the law, House Bill 555. So I'm sure in the next few times that you guys talk, that's a decision that has to be made. I'm sure that SLAC and the board will get together on that, but that was one of the things to kind of help them along in the process of knowing what those things would be in the models that I think we used the OEA model. We kind of shared that with them. Incidentally, if you have heard about the SLOs from before, one of the things that we discussed about is each student must be covered on at least one SLO. And so that point was shared multiple times, and sharing it out loud here. And then last, an SLO is considered best practice. It's a way for teachers to make sure their students are growing in the appropriate amounts. And it's one of the main ways that teachers will be evaluated in next year's full-fledged OTES evaluation system. Okay? That's the update, race to the top. Do you have any questions for Heather?
Thank you both.
Well,
Unless there are questions.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll have a construction update by Bill Stauffer.
Yeah, I want to give you an update tonight briefly on our construction project, and specifically the floor vibration problem that we talked about last month. I also want to dispel some more rumors that seem to be out in the community that are not true. Like I said, last month the rumor was the floors were sinking. We said not true at all. I've heard the walls are caving in. Not the case. Also, I've heard the rumor that I said that both the junior high and high school wings were going to have to be torn down and rebuilt. That's not the case either. None of those rumors are true. Like we said a month ago, it's not a safety issue. It's not a matter of anything falling down. It's a comfort issue. It's floors that vibrate a little bit when you walk on them or you jiggle your leg, those sorts of things. It affects 24 classrooms, 18 on the high school side, 16 on the high school side, 8 on the junior high side, all on the second floor, of course. Several experimental fixes have been tried in the last month. Dan, we've done, what, 4 or 5 at least experimental fixes. All of them, I guess, have worked to a varying degree. None of them we feel are satisfactory at this point, so we have not accepted any of those solutions at this point. We continue to work daily with architects and engineers. We spent a couple hours at the high school today with an engineer. People were up from the Ohio Facilities Commission looking at the floors. Everybody's working very, very hard and diligently to come up with a fix to the problem. We're just not sure what the fix is at this point. The one thing that I can say is that until we are completely satisfied that the problem's been fixed, we're not going to accept the building. So if we are delayed, and at this point I think there will be a delay, I don't think we will open that building in September. It's highly unlikely in my mind that we will. I believe at some point next year that building will open, and it may open in waves, in that the high schoolers may get into that building first, then the junior high would come in second after their section is complete. The goal is to get that high school section done first, though, because as you know, that old high school needs to be demoed. So the goal is to get the high school kids in there first, get that demo going, then get the junior high kids in. What that timeline is, I can't say, because we don't know what the fix is exactly or how long it's going to take. But what I can assure the community, myself and the board, we're committed. We are not going to accept an inferior product. Just flat out, we've talked about that many times. So like I said, probably won't open in the fall. At some point it will open. I'm guessing the schedule that we laid out for high school and junior high kids, they were going to get out of school a little bit early at the end of the year, a day or two early. That's probably not going to happen now because there's no reason for them to get out early. The reason they were going to get out early is because our teachers needed to pack up their things in order to get them moved to the new school for the beginning of the next school year. If we're not moving in at the beginning of next school year, they don't need to pack things yet. So as you can see, not opening on time causes lots and lots of other problems, but I'd rather be faced with those problems than accept a building that's not perfect at this point. And by the way, the building, when it opens, it's going to be a fantastic facility. It really is. It is gorgeous inside. It's gorgeous outside. We have that one problem, and they need to get it fixed. So like I said, we're working very, very hard. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. They were planning some last things at the high school on May the 11th.
Yeah, all of those things are on hold. I don't think we're going to do those at this point.
Okay.
I'm sure that we'll have a going away ceremony for that high school, and we're talking about a dance and so forth. I think that'll occur at a later date now. Good question, Mary Lou.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just happened to think about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. It is recommended that the board approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 19th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Motion passed. Citizen comments on agenda items are welcome at this time. Seeing none, I will move to payment of bills. It is recommended that the board approve payment of bills for the month of March pending audit.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, Chris, could we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes, motion passes. It is recommended that the board approve a resolution for payment of bills per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.41D.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
It is recommended that the board accept the financial reports from the treasurer for March 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Chris, the vote please at your convenience.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes,
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
motion passed. It is recommended that the board approve the following personnel items. Retirement resignations. The retirement resignations of teachers Michael Maletich, Don Henry, Dodi Zabuka, all effective June 1st, 2013. Retirement resignation of Roosevelt Elementary Principal Lucille Brown, effective June 28th, 2013. Resignation of bus driver and cafeteria employee Charlotte Bunner, effective February 15th, 2013. Resignation of cafeteria employee Karen Harris, effective March 28th, 2013. FMLA leave after exhausting his sick time through the end of 2012-13 school year for bus driver Lloyd Hensley. Unpaid leave of absence for cafeteria employee Rebecca Bennett for the remainder of the 2012-13 school year. Unpaid leave of absence for classified employee Tina Tharp from April 19th through April 26, 2013. Employee Lynn Oliver is a 6.5-hour teaching assistant at Roosevelt Elementary per the negotiated contract pending proper licensure effective April 8, 2013. Employee Jennifer Ray is a 2-hour cafeteria employee at the high school per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective April 8, 2013. Approve the following 1-year limited contracts effective for the 2013-14 school year. Megan Babcock, Caitlin Benner, Beth Burgess, Timothy Burns, Ilario Crusario, Ashley Fraley, Peter Geis, Meredith Gray, James Grubbs, Kevin Hanna, Lori Henry, Shannon Holtz, Jennifer Hoskin, Michelle King, Todd Lovell, Charlene Maas, Jessica Mazinetz, Alexa McLeister, Heather Meeker, James Mills, Patrick Jack Morgan, Andrea Novicki, Steve Schaefer, Aaron Skaggs, Lisa Smith, and Amber Worsler. Employ the following certified personnel to work extended school year summer 2013 at an hourly rate of $22.61, up to a maximum of 96 hours to be paid from federal funds. Mary Beth Mitchell, Melanie Smethers, Carol Tolson. Employ the following classified personnel to work extended school year summer 2013 at an hourly rate of $8.50, up to a maximum of 96 hours to be paid from federal funds. Mary Kelsey, Nancy Ahrens, Deborah Lingenhold. Approve a 3-year administrative contract for Sean Morgan, High School Assistant Principal. Approve a 3-year administrative contract for Kevin Vaughn, Athletic Director, High School Dean of Students.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Chris, the vote, please.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes, motion passed. It is recommended that the board approve the 2013 seniors listed in Exhibit 4 to receive a diploma from the Springfield High School after having met all requirements as set forth by the State of Ohio and the Springfield Board of Education.
So moved. Second.
I have to say, this is probably the best thing we get to vote on all year long.
Yes, it
Mrs.
is.
Collins, your motion?
Pardon?
Did you motion?
Yes, I did.
I
Second. Mary Lou
I
and then
made the
myself.
Okay. Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes, motion passed. It is recommended that the board approve a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Could you simplify that? Chris, that's just something we do every year, right?
That's correct. Basically, the Board of Education has to authorize the rates that the county auditor has calculated. And then the fine people for Springfield Township pays them twice a year in January and in August. And that's what runs the district. But you actually every year have to establish the rates. These aren't new levies. These are just levies that have already been voted. But
Correct.
If there's a problem with you, when you don't agree with it.
I've never had a Board of Education deny, the
No,
rate.
I know that, but there's sometime, I mean,
Yes, there are.
there are times.
By law, there's some quirky laws out there that, that the Budget Commission can reduce rates. Say a district is just, they have more money than they know what to do with, or that, I think it's happened once that I know of in the last 10 years. But no, it's part of Ohio Revised Code, the Boards of Education. It basically makes the Boards of Education look at the rates, understand them. Here, most of ours are renewal rates, so they're fixed. We have a lot of fixed, amounts.
Right.
Is this something that most tax collecting entities are probably required to do?
Right. The good thing is the valuations are starting to rise in Springfield Township, so that means property values are starting to rise. And that's always a trend that a treasurer likes to see. We've seen a huge reduction in valuations, and now we're actually seeing a rise. And I think you'll see it continuing because with all the land banks that are going around northeastern Ohio, more and more homes are going to get raised that should be raised, and we're seeing that all over the place, so, which is a good thing. So when people decide when and if they want to sell their house, the amounts are going to be more than they were in the past. So.
Thank goodness.
Vote please, Chris.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes,
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
motion passed. Treasurer's report.
Very briefly, I think you have a copy in front of you. People in the audience, I will hand out to my reporters. If anybody else wants to.
Here's one too, Chris.
They're right here.
Thank you.
The only thing I want to talk about that was pretty significant, and I have a call into the county auditor, is the way, I don't probably nobody understands how this works. I didn't before we were treasurer, but basically when you pay your tax bill, I get advances. So when people pay their tax bill, the sooner they pay it, the more advances I get. And then there's a final settlement, meaning that all the taxpayers pay, the ones that are going to be late are late, and they give me a final amount. Well, it causes a lot of grief on treasurers because you really don't know what you're going to get until you get it. You just don't. You don't know how many people are not going to pay their tax bill. You don't know how many properties are in litigation for prior tax bills. It's just, and it causes a lot a lot of grief. I mean, you've read in the paper where Strongsville got over $3 million, just boom, to the good, which is going to cause them a lot of grief. Well, we just had the opposite. We actually had a $200,000 reduction. It's called real estate other commercial. So basically what happened was there were some commercial property owners that must have won some type of tax settlement, and it could have gone back years. I mean, they can challenge their valuations 6-7 years ago, and then it takes them forever to act upon it. Well, I don't have the details yet. I just got the final settlement in the last couple of days. I did put a call in to the deputy fiscal officer of Summit County, but from what I hear, she's getting flooded with calls because the same problem that hit Springfield hit Woodridge, and so that's just the nature of the beast. Once I find out, I'll report on it. Hopefully it's an error. Typically it's not. So it did adversely affect our tax collection in real estate. But other than that, again, as I said for the last 3 years, things are continuing to do well. We're still a very healthy school district in comparison to other neighboring districts, and we're still working very diligently to maintain that fiscal health. And that's the key. Once you're healthy, you want to stay healthy, because you can't expect anybody else to help you out. Certainly not from the federal government, and certainly not from our state. We have to stay within our means. That's about it.
Any questions for Chris? Thank you, Chris. Business manager's report.
The food service finished approximately 6,000 in the black for March, and that puts us at about 58,000 fiscal to date in the black, which is very good. So that's healthy. During spring break, we had a chance to get all the custodians together. There was a equipment demonstration that the new building will get all sorts of floor scrubbers, vacuums, other pickup machines. So they got an in-service on how to operate all that equipment, and of course, custodians at the other buildings liked the new stuff, and we will be talking with Chris, see if we can replace some of our old equipment in the other buildings. It's really time savers and just a better way to keep the buildings clean. But that was a good chance to get everybody together. Other than that, it's spending a lot of time at the construction site with Mr. Stauffer and the structural engineers, and just planning out different scenarios on when the building opens, timelines that have to change. So it's very time consuming. But are there any questions?
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Superintendent's report.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're almost at the end of the school year. It's coming very, very quickly. We talked about graduates earlier that you approved. The top 25 dinner is May the 9th over at Hartville Kitchen. I think it's 6 o'clock. Senior Awards is on May 16th at Nativity Church. It's in the morning, I believe. I forget the time now. I'll get that to you. Prom, May the 17th. So the end of the school year is coming very, very quickly. It's hard to believe that another year has gone by. It's flown by. I want to thank Mrs. Ganser and Young Elementary School for hosting us tonight. And finally, within the last week or so, we received a certificate from the Ohio House of Representatives, and let me read to you what it says. Under the sponsorship of Representative Anthony DeVitas, House District 36, on behalf of the members of the House of Representatives of the 130th General Assembly of Ohio, we are pleased to commend Springfield Local School District on receiving an excellent rating on the Ohio Department of Education's 2011-2012 local report card. The Springfield Local School District has displayed an unwavering dedication to exceeding the highest standards of educational quality. The faculty and administration of this fine institution have demonstrated leadership and foresight in providing students with the best possible education. And as a result of their tremendous efforts, the district has been awarded an excellent rating on the 2011-2012 local report card. The administration and staff of the Springfield Local School District have been responsive to the needs and interests of the young people, preparing them to assume meaningful roles in our complex society. All of those responsible for the district's success can reflect with pride on its strong tradition of scholastic eminence, upon which it can build an even more productive and rewarding future. Thus, it is with genuine satisfaction that we applaud the Springfield Local School District on its success and extend best wishes for years to come. Representative Anthony DeVitas, House District 36, and William Batchelder, Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives. And this is the certificate. We will hang this over at the new board office. And folks, this is what it's all about. This is what all the tough days and headaches and struggles are about. It's all worth it when you see our kids achieve and succeed. So thank you very much.
It is very nice. That's the first time that I can remember that
Correct.
that has been done.
And we do have some banners coming also that we've ordered for the different buildings saying that we're an excellent district again. And I think this is 4 out of the last 5 years.
What about tomorrow at the high schools at work?
High Schools That Work showcase is tomorrow morning at Nativity. And that's where school districts involved in, or high schools involved in High Schools That Work and making middle grades that work are coming to our district to see what we are doing here because we have been so successful. So it's a showcase of the Springfield High School and junior high to see what we're doing. So it's a real feather in our cap.
And that's tomorrow at Nativity. And
Tomorrow at
that's
Nativity.
schools from all over Summit County, or is it Northeast
All
Ohio?
over Northeast Ohio.
Northeast Ohio are coming to
Yes.
Springfield to see what we've done.
Correct.
Our staff put a lot of time into the high schools that work and the middle schools that
Absolutely.
work, so really want to commend them.
Yeah, breakfast at 8 o'clock and it starts at 8:30 then.
Nice.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Items worthy of your note. May 21st, next regular Board of Education meeting, 6 p.m. at Roosevelt Elementary School. I'll also add that we are having a work session this Saturday at 8 a.m. at the old board office. May 27th, Memorial Day, no school. May 30th, students' last day. May 30th, end of fourth quarter, second semester. May 31st, graduation. At this time, are there any citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, we do not need to go into executive session anymore because we already had that. And can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
I think it's second.
Mary Lou and Dave.
Yes.
Who's second?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou, who's first?
Dave, did you first?
I was second.
Mary Lou first,
I made the
Dave second.
motion.
I thought I
She's
had
saying-
Mary Lou on there, I just, okay.
It's hard
I
to
can't,
hear.
yeah,
The acoustics aren't
that's my
great.
age. Mrs. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes,
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Very good.
meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.